Alright guys, welcome back. It's LSP. It's currently the 7th of January 2020. It's about 5 minutes to midnight. I just wanted to do a quick update on EURJPY as our study pair. So as I discussed in the previous video, which is the one previous to this, where I'm going over, it's the first video of EURJPY in the new year. So you'll know which one it is if you haven't already watched it, and I discuss all these levels and so on. With today's price action, I was saying that I wanted to see this area negated. This is a very good indication that that is indeed going to be the case. Now if we go over to the 4 hour and kind of zoom out, this is the area that I made a note of, and I am liking this reaction. I do like this a lot. I'm certainly not expecting price to be going up at this point, so I am going to be looking for a reason to jump on board with a look to catching a nice wave down if we can for a study trade, and this is all starting to make sense. I mean, we've been watching this for a very long time. We had a nice, a nice period of kind of grinding, and a patience period, and then we had this big gap in between, the last update and the one that I've just done. And then obviously now price is starting to kind of fade off, and I do believe that we're going to start to kind of grind lower into these levels. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to come down here at 114.85. We'd need to see something pretty spectacular for that to happen, especially when price is currently at 120.50, give or take a few pips, but at least to this first area here, and then potentially here. And I'm going to make a note of this actually, which is a weekly level at 119.25, which would make sense that price does come down there. So let's take a look. 4 hour, let's take a look at the hourly and see where we're at in terms of dailies. So this is actually Wednesday's price action. This is an Asian session issue or price movement. Now we've already reacted nicely here. We had a nice pause here, which is based on this area here. We take the dividers off. We'll kind of see if there's anything that I can key off of tomorrow. Let me make a note of this candle here, and then see how that looks on the 15-minute chart. Let's open a study trade around about here. Okay, see if price gets there. I'd be quite interested to see if price does get up there, 120, sort of 60 to 120.65. So you can see I've got an open sell limit on this at the minute. This is all for education, guys. If anybody follows along, that's on you. I'm not telling you what to do. This is an educational study trade based on everything that we've been talking about on EURJPY for months and months and months. Okay, please don't follow along. That's not what this is. These certainly aren't trade signals or anything silly like that. Excuse me. So the conditions for this trade are it will be an open stop. I'm just going to let this move around and do its thing. I'm using a very small account, which is a study trade account that I use when I'm teaching traders, and going through some study trades over over on the Patreon page. So it's very controlled. I know what I'm doing, and it's all for the education of those who are watching and those who are interested in doing the studies, and learning to become better traders. Okay, if any of you who are watching this decide to open a trade based on this, then that's not my responsibility, and you're accepting full responsibility. Okay, like I said, I'm doing my very best to make sure that I'm providing sound educational content, like I said, for people to become better traders, more consistent traders, more disciplined in their trading. My intention is not to give trade signals. I'm not licensed to give trade advice, which I've said many times. So in the interest of protecting myself and keeping you guys safe as well, I have to say, please do not follow along on this trade, okay, whether live funds or demo. but as a study, it should be an interesting study. So we'll kind of leave the trade limit open and see what happens. So the order's open. We know why the trade is there. I've been watching, been waiting very patiently over the months. You know, we had a really nice overview of everything the last session on the EURJPY study. So now going forward, we should be expecting lower prices at least to this first level. Excuse me, this first level down here. What I'll do actually, excuse me, 119. We'll call it 119.90 because I would expect it to sweep that. So we'll put a target at 119. 119.90. That's fine. Let's pop that there. And again, open stop because I want to see how this moves around, purely for educational purposes. Obviously, I wouldn't be doing trades like this unless I was monitoring them and unless I had a stop on my main account. So what I'm saying there is basically, if I was going to open a trade like this, there would be a hard stop in. Excuse me. There would be a hard stop in, and I would be monitoring the trade. I wouldn't leave the screen. And if I did leave the screen, it would just be to get up and walk 2 meters to the kettle to put the kettle on and then come back to the screen. I'm always in front of the charts when I have open trades on my main account, but this is a study trade, so we're going to have an open stop on this trade and we're going to let it unfold and do what it's going to do. So with that said, guys, I'll update you guys tomorrow. I'll leave this open. I've got a few more things to do, and I get myself to bed by around about 1 o'clock, and then I will be waking up at some point throughout the night, maybe 3 o'clock, and then again at 5. I don't really sleep much anyway, so I'll be you know, monitoring the markets throughout the night, and then I will update you guys. If it triggers, I'll let you know. If it doesn't, then I'll do the update tomorrow. Either way, there will be an update coming tomorrow. Alright, so I hope everybody's having a great evening. Take care, and I will speak to you then.